Bonjour des élèves. Aujourd'hui, on va étudier la leçon 7, une boum ou une fête. OK. So, voici la présentation de la leçon 7, une boum ou une fête. Here are the learning targets for this lesson. I can describe what one person or group of people are doing. I can talk about what people like and do not like to do. I can express approval or regret. I can use verb plus infinitive formation. I am familiar with French party customs and I can use ER regular verbs. Okay, so this is a quick review of the infinitive of a verb. We learned in previous lessons that the verbs are the action words in a sentence. And when the verb is with a subject pronoun in a sentence, it's conjugated. But before conjugation, the basic form of a verb is called the infinitive or l'infinitif. An infinitive is a verb that is not conjugated. What do infinitives look like in English? I'm gonna let you think about that for a minute. And what do infinitives look like en français? We will talk about all these questions in class, okay? So many French infinitives end in ER or ER. And what is the equivalent of the ER ending in French? It's to. Parler means to speak, n'est-ce pas? To speak. The ER section is the to part. Regarder is to look. And think of another verb that we learned in previous lessons and insert it here. Okay, d'accord? Infinitives like parler and regarder are called regular verbs because they follow a predictable pattern when conjugated. And we've been seeing this the last 2 weeks. The present tense form of ER verbs consists of two parts. We have the stem and the ending. The stem does not change, and I'm gonna move my screen over here. The stem does not change. When you conjugate, it is the infinitive minus the ER. So if the infinitive is parler, you drop the ER and it becomes parle. This is the stem of the verb. Voyager is the infinitive with ER, to travel. You drop the ER when conjugating and you end up with the stem, voyage. The endings depend on the subject. As we've been seeing, they vary as follows en français. So for je, the ending is e. For tu, es. For il and elle in the singular, it's e. For nous, the ending is ons. For vous, ez. For il et elle, ent. So if we insert the stem of the verb parler, for instance, we end up with je parle, tu parles, il, elle parle. Répétez, nous parlons, vous parlez, il et elle, au pluriel, parlent. And of course, we can replace this stem with another stem of a regular verb like chanter. You drop the ER and you add chante here, and you end up with je chante, I sing, tu chantes, you sing. Okay? And remember that the tu always drags an S. Okay. The infinitive, we said it's the verb before conjugation with the ER ending, but the infinitive is also used after je préfère. So if you have a sentence starting with je préfère, you follow it by infinitive. Another phrase that could precede the infinitive is je voudrais, I would like, je veux, I want, je ne veux pas, I do not want. Est-ce que tu veux, do you want? Je peux, I can. Je ne peux pas, I cannot. Je dois, I must. So, we can add after all these phrases an infinitive or a verb in the infinitive form like this. Je préfère travailler. See the ER ending? It's the infinitive form of travailler. So we have verb 1, préfère, conjugated with e. Verb 2, travailler, is in the infinitive, ER. Same thing. Je voudrais voyager. I would like to travel. Same thing in English. In English, you conjugate the first verb, but not the second. I would like, this is a conjugated verb, to travel, non conjugated. Here's another example. Je veux jouer au foot. I want to play football or soccer. Je ne veux pas jouer. I do not want to play. Est-ce que je peux danser? Or est-ce que tu veux danser? Do you want to dance? Je peux dîner avec toi. I can dine with you. Je ne peux pas dîner. I cannot dine or have dinner. Je dois étudier. I must study. Okay, a few hints. Je becomes J apostrophe or J before a vowel sound like this. Je parle. We keep the je because parle starts with a P. We keep the E, but for j'aime, I like, M starts with A, so we drop the E. Note the liaison when the verb begins with a vowel sound. Nous étudions. Vous invitez Thomas. When the infinitive of the verb ends in G or G-E-R, G-E-R, the new form ends in E-O-N-S. This is an exception. All the verbs ending in G-E-R, like nager, to swim, manger, to eat, voyager, to travel. Instead of just the O-N-S for the new form, we add E-O-N-S. And why? The reason is, if we have G-O, it sounds like go, but we need the sound mangeons, nageons, voyageons. The E is inserted to prevent the J sound, to prevent the G sound and to receive the J sound, okay? Without an O, it would be nagon, but it's incorrect. We need nageons, mangeons, voyageons. Here are the endings of the conjugated form of être with different subject pronouns. And let's look again at some verbs en ER. All these are regular ER verbs that are conjugated the same, right? We keep the stem, we drop the ER, and we add these endings. Now, just to memorize the verbs, I'm gonna go with them, with you over them. Okay, répétez, chanter, danser, dîner, étudier, écouter, jouer, manger, nager, parler. Remember, the manger and nager have an exceptional E in the new form. Regarder, to look, at or to watch, téléphoner, à, to call someone, travailler, to work, voyager, to travel, aimer, to like, habiter, à, to live in, j'habite à Colchester. Remember this expression? Inviter, to invite, organiser, to organize, visiter, to visit places. Let's conjugate habiter, okay? So it's a regular verb. We drop the ER and we add the ending. J'habite, but we drop the E from je. J'habite, because the H is silent and we consider that this word starts with a vowel. J'habite. Tu habites, ES. Il, elle habite, E. Nous habitons, ONS. Vous habitez, EZ. Il et elles habitent, ENT. I live, you live. He, she lives in. We all live, you all live in, and they all live in. Okay, here is a reading it's called Une carte postale, a postcard. Salut Rodolphe, je suis à Paris. J'adore cette ville. You might want to stop, pause the video, and read it on your own first, and then listen to me and read along with me. Je suis à Paris. J'adore cette ville. Aujourd'hui, nous visitons la tour Eiffel. Les touristes visitent la cathédrale Notre-Dame. Tu visites Paris avec ta famille? Ta sœur visite Genève, n'est-ce pas? Ah, tu n'aimes pas voyager. Dommage. À bientôt, ton ami Sarah. So, I would like you to think about what this paragraph means or this carte postale means. Translate the sentences, look at your notes from previous lessons and figure it out. We'll talk about it some more in class. Posez des questions. Now, to pose questions or to ask questions, we learned that we have to use est-ce que before the sentence. For instance, if the sentence in the affirmative form starts with tu parles français, you speak French, to ask do you speak French, we start with est-ce que tu parles français, with the intonation going up. Oui, je parle français. Or, non, je ne parle pas français. Ne pas, which means not, surround the conjugated form. Je ne parle pas français. I do not speak French. Another way to ask a question is to say, you speak French, right? Isn't it so? Tu parles français, n'est-ce pas? So two ways to ask a question. Okay, so let's look at la forme négative. La forme négative in the sentence, we have, of course, to use no or an apostrophe with pas, which means not. And the sentence starts, this is a formula of the forme négative subject, plus ne or an apostrophe, plus verbe, plus pas. So if we were conjugating the verb parler, je parle, tu parles, il, elle parle, in the negative it becomes je ne parle pas, tu ne parles pas. Répétez, il, elle ne parle pas. Nous parlons becomes nous ne parlons pas. Vous parlez becomes vous ne parlez pas. Il et elle parlent becomes il or elle ne parle pas. Now, compare in English and French languages. So language comparisons. English has several verb forms for expressing actions in the present. In French, there is only one form. Let's look at the example. Je joue au tennis means in French, it indicates the present tense, but it could translate in English to I play tennis, I do play tennis, I am playing tennis. So for the negative form, je ne joue pas au tennis translates to I do not play tennis, or I don't play tennis, and I'm not playing tennis, or I am not playing tennis. Here are some examples of the form négative. We have il ne travaille pas, il n'écoute pas, elle ne chante pas. And notice the ending of écoute after il in the plural. Okay, let's look at some vocabulary of some useful words. Les adverbes. So, well means bien. And I'm going to say the French words because you can read the English words. So, répétez. Bien. Très bien. Mal. Beaucoup. Un peu. Souvent. Toujours. Aussi. Maintenant. Rarement. So in French, these expressions never come between the subject and the verb. They always are placed after the verb. D'accord? After the verb. Like this. You can say, je chante rarement. Je danse un peu. Je travaille souvent. Je joue beaucoup au tennis. Meaning, I sing rarely or I rarely sing. I dance a little bit. I often work or I work often. You say je travaille souvent. You can say je chante bien. I sing well. Je danse très bien. I dance very well. Je travaille mal. I work badly. Je joue toujours au tennis. I always play tennis. Some more expressions for la conversation. We can say super, meaning terrific. Super or dommage, too bad. Okay, let's look at the verb plus infinitive. There can only be one conjugated verb in each sentence. Okay, so since we know that there can be one conjugated verb in each sentence, What do we do with the verb, with other verbs that are present in this sentence? If we have another verb in the sentence, we do not conjugate it, we leave it in the infinitive, only the first verb is conjugated. Construction of this form in French is affirmative. In the affirmative form, subject plus conjugated form of aimer plus infinitive. For this is an instance, like if verb 1 is aimer, we use subject and then aimer in its conjugated form, and then the infinitive form of the second verb. Now, if we have a verb in the negative, again, we start with the subject, and then we put ne and pas around the conjugated form of aimer, and then the infinitive verb. Okay, let's look at some examples. Je préfère travailler. Okay, so verb 1, conjugated, verb 2 in the infinitive. Je voudrais voyager. I would like to travel. Je veux jouer au foot. I want to play soccer. I think we looked at these examples. I'm gonna let you look at them a little bit. And so I'll just read the last one. Je dois étudier. I must study. Now, what if I want to turn this sentence in the negative form? The last one, je dois étudier, I must study. We know that this is verb 1. We put ne pas right here around it, and it turns to je ne dois pas étudier. D'accord? We come here to the end of this lesson. Please fill out your note and do the accompanying activities. Merci. Au revoir.